running here, running there. My mind is so spherical.
Hi, welcome back to my haunted house. Have you been, Tiffany? Oh my gosh, it's been so long. I've missed you so much. Today we have more autumn / 5-star horror recommendations. I've pulled out like the creme de la creme of my like hardcover horror faves. We have some new faves, we have old faves. We've got a little bit of everything, okay? I'm so excited to talk to you about all these books. They're all literally terrifying. They're all perfect for this time of year. Now, speaking of getting cozy and cuddled up, you might know that I'm like a chef. I am Gordeline Ramsay. I love cooking, and it's honestly becoming like one of my favorite hobbies. I love watching cooking content. Okay, and that's where today's sponsor, Skillshare, comes in, because Skillshare has cooking content that I am literally obsessed with. My latest obsession is a cooking class by Khalees, the musician, the icon. She's also like a chef, which I did not know, but when I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm literally convinced. Her food looks so good. She did this classes on sauces, which I don't know about you, Tiffany, but I'm a sauce girl. And the way that she framed it too, it was like a lot of food is universal, but then when it comes to sauces, sauces are cultural. Sauces are really what adds like a little bit of extra push, a little bit extra flavor. So we're talking like pasta sauces, we're talking dressings, we're talking gravies, okay? I'm gonna need her to make more classes because I'm gonna need more. And I need to make some kind of like jerk, maybe like tofu or something, because the jerk sauce that she made looked so good. Anyway, in case you're like, Jordaline, you're just talking about like cooking and food or whatever. What is Skillshare? Let me tell you. Skillshare is the largest online community for creatives. As if you didn't already know that though. Skillshare is the place where you can go and take classes, where you can learn, and not even just like about cooking. That's just like kind of what I'm into right now, but also just like literally anything. I know that a lot of girlies love Skillshare for like the productivity type stuff. They also have a bunch of classes that are like more technical. So you can learn about like AI, you can learn about like Photoshop or whatever. I'm very intimidated by those kinds of things, but I love it for you. Skillshare for me just helps take my hobbies to the next level. I was here with sauces, and now I'm like here because I learned about it, and it was so fascinating. It was so fun. I cannot recommend it enough, dude. You have listened to me talk about my personal favorite classes from Skillshare the last few months. Thank you so much, Skillshare, for sponsoring. And I did say this last time, but I think Khalees's class might be my new favorite. And you're thinking, okay, it's probably like a one and done type of situation with these cooking classes. No, you can do like learning paths. Now you're like, what is a learning path? You're just saying words. So a learning path is basically like a curated playlist of like things that are important for like that specific topic. Like I was saying, I was looking at learning paths for cooking. I'm telling you, Tiffany, if you're not on Skillshare, if you're not taking classes and like bettering yourself, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but now I do because of Skillshare. Skillshare came to me and they were like, Jordaline, do you want to make people's lives better, more improved, happier, brighter, beautiful? And I said, I think I do. I think I do, Skillshare, daddy. So the first 500 people to click the link in my description get Skillshare for free for a month. The first 500 people. Okay, 500 people is like a lot. So click that link in my description, get Skillshare for free for a month, premium. By the way, premium. Literally live your dreams, okay? The first 500 people can get it for free for a month. I hope you check out Skillshare. I hope you find a class that you live, laugh, love. And I hope it changes you in like the best possible way. I think I'm changed after that sauce class. I'm not even lying. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Once again, don't forget to check out the link in my description. Get Skillshare for free for 1 month for the first 500 people. Thank you. The first book we're going to talk about is The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. This is so fucking good. Tiffany, do you like books? You do? Good. Read this one. You're gonna absolutely love it. And if you don't, I will personally allow you to slap me in the face. Like, I don't even care. The eyes of the best part is following this girl named Jiwon. Jiwon is living with her mom and her sister. Their father like literally ditched. Their father like abandoned their family to start like another family. It's like really rude. And Jiwon is salty about it. She fucking hates her dad for it. But her mom meets this guy named George. George is this like white dude who's just like the absolute fucking worst. Like imagine a man. That's George. This weird obsession with George's eyes began for Jiwon. Like, she starts dreaming about his eyes. She starts like thinking about eating this motherfucking guy's eyes. It's so good. And even if this book was absolute ass, this cover is absolutely stunning. Like 10 out of 10, no notes. I recently read this and I recently finished it. It is kind of like a fantasy horror, but still, it's so fucking good. And that is Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell. You're thinking to yourself, Tiffany, Jordaline, what about the gay shit? That's what this is, baby girl, okay? Look no further. This is about this monster, Shasheshin. This is about Shasheshin. And she lives in this cave situation. And then one day, these dudes show up. She's like awoken early from her hibernation by these dudes. They end up finding her, injuring her. She ends up killing one or two of them. This and that kind of happens. And she ends up in the care of this girl named Homily. Homily thinks that Shasheshin is like a human. She thinks that she's a human woman, but that is not the case. Shasheshin is a monster, and Shasheshin is like, okay, wait, Homily, I could like lay my eggs in you, and then my babies could eat you from the inside out. So that's kind of like her plan to start out with. I'm gonna kill this Homily girl so that I can lay my eggs. But then she actually starts to care about Homily. Things go from there. I don't want to say anything crazy. I just need you to know that this slaps. This literally might have made me even more gay. So I'm saying, like, if you want to be gay, if you want to choose to be gay, this could be the way to do it. An old favorite of mine, because I have been reading some of her other books and not really liking them. I do have The Return by Rachel Harrison. When this came out, I really, really liked it. A lot of people didn't like it. This is about this girl whose best friend in the whole world goes missing. And everybody around them, everybody in their town is like horrified. They're all very sad. You know, she's like universally loved or whatever. I think her name is like Jessica or something. Her name is Julie. And then after a few weeks or a few months, Julie comes back. Everybody is like, hell yes, Julie has returned. We love Julie. Except our main character is like, okay, it's great that she's back. Love that she's back. However, things are like a little bit weird. I have this like sneaking suspicion that that's not Julie. But everyone is convinced. Everyone's like, how dare you? Like, it's so weird that you're not like overjoyed. Julie and this girl and two other friends decide to go on this like vacation to kind of celebrate Julie's return. Things go from there. It's kind of giving like The Shining, but if it was like girly pop. That's what this gives, in my opinion. Another new favorite that I am obsessed with. We have Blood Cruise by Matt Strandberg. I did a whole reading vlog. I will link it. This book is so absolutely fucking crazy. There is no audiobook for it, so I did read it physically. This is about a cruise ship. Everybody's getting on. Everyone's so excited to go out to sea or whatever. Everyone's partying. Everyone's drinking. Everyone's eating. Everyone's like, la 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 la, you know, having a good time. But amongst all of the people on this cruise ship, there happen to be two vampires. These vampires are hungry. One of them is like a woman. The other one looks like a child. The woman is looking for food, you know what I mean? But the child ends up doing its own thing, getting into its own kind of mischief. This, I imagine, is how disease works, which is crazy. And it's literally terrifying. It's a gore stress fest for like 600 pages. It's crazy, but I cannot recommend it enough. It's so good. It's so gory. Absolutely love this. Love it. This is like kind of a new favorite, but also kind of an old favorite. It's like in between. I have Old Country by Matt Query and Harrison Query. I also have a reading vlog for this. Let me just tell you that I was not expecting this book to have me by the throat. I did not expect it. I thought Matt and Harrison were gonna like wiggle their dicks a little bit and like that would be it. But no, they were like going full in. This is about this couple. They move in to their brand new house. It's their first home. They're so excited. Maybe they're gonna do a few renovations. You know, they're starting their family. It's them and then their dog. Their dog is super cute. The dog does not die, just so you know. One day, their neighbors come up and they're like kind of an older couple, and they're like, hey, so nice to meet you. We would love to like show you things around, blah, 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 because we've been caretakers for this house for a while. And we would love to help you guys with anything that you need. Also, just so you know, this land is cursed. And there are rituals that you're going to have to do if you don't want to die. Our main couple are like, get the fuck out of here. Like, literally leave. You're fucking crazy. Until the thing that the old couple said would happen happens. And then they start to question what the fuck they got themselves into. This is so intense. Like, maybe one of the most intense books I've ever read. It is visceral. So genuinely terrifying. I can't even tell you. I didn't like this book until I saw the movie. And that is Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. I read this book when it came out, was absolutely enthralled by it, devoured it in like a single day. And then the ending just ruined it for me. But now after seeing the movie, I think I prefer this ending. This is about, in case you don't know, a couple and their daughter. They're at this cabin, I think for like a holiday, for a vacation. They're chilling out. They're having a fine time. Everything's great. And then these people show up. At first, they're like, this is weird and suspicious and whatever. And it gets even weirder when the people who've shown up are like, hey, we have weapons, but it's not a big deal, whatever. We just wanted to let you know one of you is gonna have to kill yourself to avoid the apocalypse from happening. That's where the book begins. It is absolutely fucking wild. If you haven't read this, but you have seen the movie, I would definitely recommend reading the book. When I did read it, it was crazy. I was glued to the page. This might be one of my favorite books from 2023, The Spite House by Johnny Compton. Johnny has a new book coming out, I think, and I'm so excited to read it. So when I read this, it was over. It was over. I was then and there a Johnny Compton stan. Literally, I will read everything and anything else from this man. If you don't know what this is about a family. They're like on the run. It's a father and then his two daughters. One of his daughters is kind of weird. They're on the run. We don't know why they're on the run, but they're definitely on the run and they need money. The father, whose name is Eric, is like, listen, guys, we're gonna need money because we have none left. Eric sees this ad in the paper that's like, hey, come live in this house and we'll give you a shit ton of money. So he's then interviewed by these people who are like, okay, the house is kind of haunted. We just want you to stay there. We just want to see how long you can stay there, okay? And like when you're done, we'll give you like $100,000 or something. And Eric is like, hell yeah, dude. Just so you know also, I do have my children with me. Is the house safe for kids? And they're like, oh my God, Eric. Of course it is. That's crazy. It's like so safe for kids. It's like so safe. It's crazy how safe it is for children. Eric and his kids move in to this spite house. However, it might not be safe for kids. This book had me hook, line, and sinker. I was devoted to it. I think I actually read this in like a single sitting, if I'm not mistaken. Next up, I have Beneath the Stairs by Jennifer Fawcett. This is one of my favorite books. I absolutely love it. Not even necessarily just because it's like spooky or whatever, but because of the character development. The main character in this book, she just reached out to me and I was in love with her. This is about Abby and Claire. Claire and Abby go into this place called the Hexagon House. And then when they leave different. Things aren't great when they leave the Hexagon House, but that was when they were kids. Now they're adults. You know, Claire is like an adult. She moved. She's in the city or whatever. Everything's fine. And then she gets a phone call from Abby's parents and they're like, hey, Claire, so sorry to tell you this, but Abby's in a coma. And Claire is like, a coma? What? That is crazy. And the parents say, because she went into the Hexagon House. You remember that house that she went into as children? She went into that house and tried to kill herself. Claire is like, that's suspicious and that's super fucking weird. I'm gonna head back to my hometown to see what the hell is going on. And that's when the book begins. We go between like that and then I think also the past where they're kids. It's so good. It's so creepy. And I loved the characters in this book. It was so good. This is an old favorite and it's like such a good book. I think this might be like top 5 books of all time. The Ruins by Scott Smith. I don't trust people who don't like this book. If I meet a person and they're like, yeah, The Ruins like wasn't for me. What do you mean? What do you mean? Who hurt you? Like, that's the question. This is so good. Now, imagine you're in Mexico. Everything is going so good. Everything is going great. You're with your boyfriend and also with your friends. Everything's cool. And you meet this like German dude and he's like really cool too. And so you and this German dude and all of your friends decide to like traveling further into Mexico to look for the German dude's brother. You're looking for the brother, you cannot find him, and then before you know it, you're stranded on this like hilltop with a bunch of like indigenous people around the hilltop with weapons, and they refuse to let you come down, otherwise they'll kill you. That's The Ruins. You don't even understand the absolute chokehold this has on me. This is my Roman Empire. It's a masterclass of characters. It's a masterclass of horror. It's so good. It's so gruesome. You need to read it. If you have not, you need to. Next I have We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kuehler. This is a new fave. This, bro. I literally had one of my followers, Sam, like voice message me today, and she was like, Jordaline, you changed my life with this book. You recommended it, I read it, and now I need everyone I know to read it. And I was like, I know, you're welcome. Every single time I think about this book, I think about Charlie and how hot she is. And I don't think I'll ever get over that. In case you're like, what is that, Jordaline? Let me tell you, you sweet angel baby pumpkin beat bitch. This is about a couple. They move into this new house. They're renovating it. Everything's cool, whatever. Our main character, Eve, is home alone for the evening because her girlfriend's at work. And then she gets a knock at the door. It's this family on her doorstep. And the dad is like, we don't live here or anything, but I used to live here when I was a boy. And I just want to know if like maybe I could come in with my family and show them the house, because like this is like where I used to live as a kid, and it's like very nostalgic. And like you can say no, of course you can say no, but you know, I would love it if I could just show my family this house, because it's just like such a big part of my life. Eve immediately is like, I don't want to let these people into my house because that's weird, and I don't have a good vibe. But also, she's a chronic people pleaser. So she's like, of course, mi casa, su casa. Like, she's so hospitable. And thus begins an absolute fucking nightmare where these people refuse to leave. It's crazy. I'm not even going to say anything else. I'm just saying. Another newish fave, I have Incidents Around the House by Josh Mallerman. This is like full octane adrenaline horror. Like 98% of this book, perfection. The last 2%, absolute ass. I'm not even gonna lie to you, Tiffany. The ending pissed me off so much, but the rest of it is so fucking good. This is about a little girl named Bella. Bella's like 8. You know, she's like a little girl. She loves her mom. She loves her grandma. She loves Dado or whatever. She's having like the time of her life. And she also like kind of loves other mommy. This like thing that like hangs out with her sometimes, you know? And you know, other mommy is kind of scary looking. Bella doesn't like to judge, you know? She doesn't like to judge. It's also kind of weird that other mommy is like, hey, can I go into your heart? And Bella is like, that's like a weird thing to ask. And so I'm going to say no, but thanks so much for asking. Other mommy might not be okay with just no. Other mommy might need a yes. Bro, this is crazy. Crazy. You need to read this, I think, for Halloween. I think this would be such a good Halloween book to read. Oh, hear me out. Hear me out, okay? You're thinking, what the fuck? Hear me out, okay? I know. I love this book, even though it's abusive. Like, even though it's like basically a hate crime against anyone who reads it, because like, why is it so fucking big? But I need you to know, I recently heard a theory that Richie and Eddie are gay and in like love with each other. That changed shit. Okay. And I know that it was like part of the movie, but I was kind of like, what? I never heard that theory, but when you think about it, which I did, and after you have other people explain it to you a little bit, it makes sense. You know what this is about. If you don't know what this is about, I highly recommend that you seek help. You know what this is about. Is it weird? Yes. Was Stephen King high on coke when he wrote it? Pretty sure. Are there things where you're like, we can't do that? Yes. Specifically the child orgy. However, when you like kind of take those things out of it, it's okay. It's not my favorite horror novel of all time, but I do like it. And I would recommend that you read it, especially if you haven't read it before. Like if you like horror and you haven't read this, I think you need to. It's like part of like the initiation or whatever. Like you don't get your like club membership until you read it. So like I literally had to wait for mine. And like what was even worse was like it was super delayed. I had to call them like every day. It was crazy. But yeah, they won't give it to you unless you've read it. So I also have Slooh by Brom. This is the most autumnal book in this pile in this video. If you want to read something a little bit autumny, a little fallish, this is the one. Okay, also it's like feminism. This is about this girl named Abigail. Abigail is your everyday, regular, degular kind of girl. She is just living her life. She has a husband. Everything's fine, right? And then her husband dies. It's believed that he gets eaten by like a bear or like some kind of animal. Not great. So Abigail is like widowed. She doesn't have a lot. And then also on top of that, because she's a woman, her community is like, you can't have a house. You give it to us. So things are not going great for Abigail because Abigail is also the kind of girly who doesn't give a flying fuck. Abigail is a bad bitch. And then she meets this creature called Samson. This guy. She thinks that Samson is Satan, and like maybe he is. She doesn't know, neither does Samson, but they form some kind of like friendship. And things kind of go from there. This book is such a no-brainer in terms of how fucking good it is. It's so good that it's crazy. The penultimate book is The Good House by Tananarive Due. This is like a haunted house kind of horror book, one of my favorites. It's an old-time favorite. It's so good. This is about this woman. She inherits this house called the Good House. I think soon after they move in, her son, who's like 15 years old, exits the world. Like he takes his own life, unfortunately. And so she's like heartbroken. She's grieving. She's going through so much. But on top of all of that, she also has to deal with this haunted ass house. Now, 2 years later, Angela, the mother, is moving past her grief and taking control of her life as a talent agent in Los Angeles. And she is finally ready to revisit the rural house she loved so much as a child. Angela realizes she hasn't been the only one to suffer a shocking loss. Since she left, there have been more senseless tragedies, and Angela wonders if they are related somehow. Could the events be linked to a terrifying entity Angela's grandmother battled in 1929? Did her teenage son, Corey, reawaken something that should have been left sleeping? It's so good. The last book I want to talk to you about is The September House by Carissa Orlando. This is, again, perfect for autumn. So this is about Margaret. Margaret and her husband buy this house and they're so happy with it. It's the perfect house. And then come September, they realize that in September, their house is haunted. And it's only ever in September. It's never at any other point in the year. Margaret, being the bad bitch that she is like, okay, well, I'm not leaving. These ghosts and shit can get the fuck out before I get the fuck out. This is my fucking house. We just bought this bitch. We can't afford to put this on the market and sell it and find a new house. We can't do it. Not on this economy. But her husband is like, no. We should get the fuck out of here. Her husband does eventually like leave. And so it's just Margaret dealing with the house. It's September. It's rolled back around and she gets a call from her daughter being like, hey mom, where's dad? I haven't heard from him in months. It's been a while. I'm like suspicious. I'm going to come down and I'm going to visit. And Margaret is horrified. She's like, no. It's September. She can't come. So she says like, no, don't come. Like your dad is fine, blah, 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 blah. But her daughter is like, no, I'm going to come. The book centers around Margaret and her daughter and Margaret trying to like keep this haunting contained. while her daughter visits. This is both scary and funny. I laughed multiple times out loud while reading this because it's just like, it's so dark, but also like kind of hilarious. My friends, my family, my familia, thank you so much for joining me for this video, for listening to me ramble on about books. I really appreciate it. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them. If you have any other recommendations, please let me know. Don't forget to check out Skillshare and the link in my description. Don't forget to hit subscribe because we talk about spooky shit, talk about creepy shit, we talk about how we used to live here in shit. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you in my next one. Bye. I'll see you later, Tiffany. Thank you so much. You're gorgeous. Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Touching darkness, leaving sharpness. Maybe I'm never ending story so far. Baby, young and dumb is what we are.